Hi, it's Pastor David in the backyard again on a Wednesday. Something different I'd like to share with you this week that's been on my mind. Some of you know that I like to walk in the morning. I walk for exercise and I have a 2-mile loop around the neighborhood, which I do. And I also like to pray. It's easier sometimes to pray walking than to sit down. I pray looking at the trees and the grass and the flowering things around me. I pray raising my head to the sky, giving thanks to God for the large world we're in and trying to think about my place in it. As I was walking yesterday, I was thinking about a man named Ahmaud Arbery. You may have heard his name recently. He's been in the news. Ahmaud was walking in his neighborhood. He was jogging in his neighborhood in Brunswick, Georgia in February when he was shot by one of his neighbors and killed. You can read about the details in many news reports, but in some ways the details don't matter because nobody under any circumstances should simply be murdered on the street like that. What's frustrating and shocking is that the police came to the scene and the man who pulled the trigger was allowed to go home. That the initial DA's report recommended no charges be brought. And it wasn't until video of the murder was released to a local news station that the State Bureau of Investigation got involved and made 2 arrests. Once again, a black person has been murdered and a family has been denied or at least painfully delayed any sense of justice, and a whole community has been traumatized. It's painful to think about and it's painful to talk about, but we bring it up, and I bring it up because it's been on my mind, because it's been in my prayers. It's been sitting heavy with me all week. I think it's important that we talk about racism and violence. I think it's especially important that white people talk about these things, even if they're difficult. It can't simply be up to black people to call out these things. White people need to raise our voices and talk about it, because if we don't speak out when something like this matters, it's as if we're saying it's okay with us. But it's not okay with us. It's not okay with me. And that's why I've been praying about it and bringing it up. We've been dealing with the stress of coronavirus, but when we look around, we know there are much worse things happening around our world than being forced to stay at home or shelter in place. And more we're finding out that coronavirus is infecting us differently, that some people are dying at higher rates and people are more in danger depending on their situation in life. It's important that we raise these issues because as Christians we're called to speak out about what's right and what's wrong. We're called to talk about injustice. We're called to think and speak and talk and work for a better world. We've been talking a lot about getting back to normal. But I don't know that normal is what I'm really hoping for. I guess I'm hoping for something better than going back to the same kind of world we've lived in. I'm hoping that we can learn and grow. It may seem far-fetched that through this coronavirus we might emerge stronger. But I think we're learning, and God is calling us today to think and to grow and to learn and to talk and to build a better world. To not just survive coronavirus, but to learn and think about not returning to normal, but making a better world. A better world where people are treated equally. A place where people's lives matter. That is my hope as we survive and as we thrive and we begin to talk with each other and grow and hope for a better world. Thanks for listening.